What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for my Week 1 Top 25, so not much of a change from last week from the preseason Top 25. But we did see Notre Dame, we did see USC, and I moved them just a little bit. We'll talk about that as I'll give you some takeaways from Week 0. I'll talk about those two teams when we get to them. Also, we had Vanderbilt, another Power 5 team in action. Not an overly impressive performance against Hawaii. I do think Hawaii is better this year than last year from what I saw in that game. But I think Vanderbilt's probably not going to be as good as they were last year. Some people thought maybe they'd win a few SEC games this year, maybe get to a bowl game. I don't see that happening. I didn't see it in the preseason. I definitely don't see it happening based off of what I saw in that first game. So, a quick touch on that game. And again, I'll get more into Notre Dame and USC. We'll talk about their games as we go through the top 25. So we'll start at the bottom and no changes here. So Oregon State at 25. We'll go from the bottom to the top. Texas Tech at 24, Tulane at 23, Oklahoma 22, Texas A&M at 21. And there's really no reason for me to change anyone in this top 25 because we haven't seen any football. All right, next we've got North Carolina at 20. Now, I did consider dropping them just because we're kind of waiting to find out the eligibility of their star transfer wide receiver and, find out for sure what the deal is there. But they're appealing, and hopefully they can get him in there. So we're going to get him to play where he's able to play. So I've got him at 20, Kansas State at 19, Wisconsin 18, Ole Miss 17, TCU at 16. And don't worry, our top 25 will change dramatically, especially in the first few weeks, because I am not the type of person to just move teams up when they win, move teams down when they lose. It's a brand new top 25 every single week, and I base it off of what I have seen on the field this season. Not resume, but what I have seen, how good I think the teams are based off of how they have looked, in my opinion. And so with Notre Dame and USC, what do you do when no one else has played? Well, basically what I did is I just ranked them based off of what I saw compared to how good I think the other teams are going to be. So yeah, it's flawed, but it is what it is. And I say this every year. Top 25s are really pointless until after 4 weeks. You need 4 games because you don't know how good the opponents are, and a team can look great, but then it turns out that the team that they just beat is terrible. So you need about 4 weeks to really properly evaluate these teams. And again, we don't have much to go off of, but you'll see here I do have Notre Dame at 11. So Texas 15, Utah at 14, Clemson 13, Tennessee 12, Notre Dame at number 11. Notre Dame for me was at number 13 before, so I moved them up 2 spots based off of what I saw. So now my takeaways from the win over Navy. I think there's going to be a huge overreaction here because Navy's not very good. They haven't been good for several years. They had a brand new head coach. And if you thought, wow, Notre Dame just, I know that, they struggled the year before. Now they dominated. Look how much better they are. I think there's going to be an overreaction to that. But I was still impressed. So defensively, we'll start there. I did a really nice job. But again, an overreaction because you had all that time to prepare for the triple option. With it being the first game of the season, physically up front, Notre Dame is just a much more talented team. Overall, just a much more talented team. And with time to prepare, I go back to 2020, BYU, Navy played in that first game. I think it was a Labor Day game. And BYU absolutely destroyed them. It was like 55-7 or 3 or something like that. So when you've got time to prepare for the triple option and you're a more talented team, that's what you should expect. So Notre Dame's defense looked really good, but I don't know if we can really learn a lot from that. Offensively, all right, let's go to there. The offensive line, the run game was really good, like we expected it to be, like they always are. And again, you got a big advantage over a team like Navy. And then you go to Sam Hartman. It's like, I kind of have mixed feelings about this game because, again, Navy was not very, they're not very good. And there were some throws in this game that he made that were great plays, but against a really good defense and a good secondary, I don't know that he makes those. And you had a pick 6 basically dropped by Navy. So there were some bad plays in there, but overall he looked really in command of the offense, made good decisions for the most part, was accurate. It just looked good. I think it's an upgrade from what they had last year, but I don't know if I saw a quarterback that's going to go out there and win them a national championship. I'm not saying they can't win a national championship, but I don't think they're going to win it because Sam Hartman is a Heisman candidate or anything like that. He's an upgrade, absolutely. I want to see him play against better defenses in this offense, and then I'll really be able to judge it, what the ceiling is for this team and just how good he could be in this offense. But overall, I think he did a really nice job. Receivers stepped up. The young freshman played really well for them. That was another concern I had. They've really struggled at the wide receiver position. But again, it was against Navy. Can they do this against better competition, against better secondaries? We'll have to wait and see. But I feel like, based off of what I saw, Notre Dame is going to be as good as I thought they would be, or maybe a little bit better. Again, one game, I don't want to overreact too much, but I was really impressed with them. I'm just not willing to say, and I think there are going to be some people that say, wow, this looked like a team that's going to make the playoff. This is a team that's going to win the national championship. Did you see what they did to Navy? Again, I'm not going to overreact like that, but I was impressed. So hopefully I can find some middle ground there between those two extremes. All right, now we go to 6 through 10. Oregon at 10, Washington at 9, Penn State at 8, Alabama at 6, and we come back to USC at number 7. So I did drop them a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, this is still looked like a really good team, but it looked like the same team as last year. I mean, this looked like the same team we saw last year, an offense that just puts so much pressure on the other team because they can score so fast and make so many big plays. But when you get pressure on Caleb Williams, he struggles. And really all quarterbacks struggle when you get pressure on them. And at times they failed to protect him. And offensively for USC, things would break down because of pressure on Caleb Williams. And he escaped it sometimes, but sometimes he didn't. They adjusted, I felt like, with their play calling and made some screen passes and things in the second half and really adjusted well. But this was against San Jose State. When they play a Utah or an Oregon or one of these other teams out of the Pac-12, are they going to be able to handle the pressure? Because I think that is the key to slowing down this USC offense. Because if you do not get pressure on Caleb Williams, you will not stop USC. You just won't. I don't know if anyone in the country can stop this offense. So many weapons. The run game looked really good. So offensively, like I said, explosive like we expected. Only thing slowing down USC is if you can get pressure on Caleb Williams. Defensively, it was the same thing we saw last year. They showed flashes of greatness. They made some big plays, great plays, but they were really inconsistent and gave up chunk plays through the air and on the ground. And if they did not, if San Jose State stayed ahead of the chains and they didn't get into 3rd and longs, they were moving the ball pretty easily. But when they had a penalty or USC got a sack or something like that, then USC's defense played a lot better. And we're talking about how this is how almost everything is in college football. It's how most teams are. But it just seemed to be a little bit more extreme here with USC's defense and their offense. So, the defense, is it good enough to win a national championship? I don't think so, based off of what I saw in one game. And I don't want to overreact, but based off of what I saw in one game, I don't see this team doing that. But can they survive the Pac-12 and can they get to the college football playoff because of the offense they have? Yeah, I think they can. And again, it comes down to protecting Caleb Williams and being more consistent on defense. Yes, they have talent. Yes, they show at times the look of a great defense. But other times they have breakdowns. They give up big plays. They need to be more consistent. It was game 1. We'll see if they can improve there. And if they can, I'm telling you, with the offense they have, USC is going to be very dangerous and a team that absolutely can make the college football playoff. So those are my takeaways from USC and Notre Dame. You guys can let me know if you saw the same things or maybe you think I'm missing something or overreacting or whatever. Would love to know your thoughts on those two games. And then top 5. So there's been a little shift here because I had USC at number 3. I did drop them because based off of what I saw, the defense just did not make those strides and they still have a problem. I think dealing with pressure on offense, and I think LSU, Florida State, and Ohio State are going to be better. I moved them up, but once we see them play, I might be like, well, no, I do think USC's better, and I might move them back ahead of these teams. So we'll just have to see how the games go in week 1. And like I said, you got to really get through about 4 weeks before you can really evaluate these teams. Still have Georgia, Michigan at the top. No change there. Cannot wait for week 1. A lot of big games. We'll be breaking it all down right here on the channel. Also, we'll have a preview already posted on the SEC channel where we're going to preview all the games in the SEC, and then on the Big Ten channel, previewing all the games there. We'll be going much more in depth this year on the Big Ten and the SEC on those channels, so make sure you're subscribed to those if you're a fan of the SEC or the Big Ten. Thanks for watching, and again, give me your thoughts on Week 0 and my top 25 down in the comments below.